Alec, welcome back. This is the end of the road for us here, Ghostbusters.
It's the end of the road as we began just a short time ago.
Mm-hmm. This is Ghostbusters Afterlife, which for a lot of people is like a big return, decades later to the classic series. You know, if we ignore our last step along the way,
Yeah,
it's the actual return to the same canonical timeline and everything.
the universe of 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. And here we are, Ghostbusters
Here we
Afterlife.
are. Ghostbusters Afterlife. Here it is.
Drink up,
Mm-hmm.
drink up. Okay.
So, what did you think about this movie? By the way, I had kind of not really any expectations going in. I think I tried to because I was like, this movie could be really good. It could be kind of bad. I don't. It's not going to be as bad as 2016, but I didn't really know. And no, it was not. I didn't really know how to feel going into this movie. Still,
Mm-hmm.
and having seen it, yeah, it was pretty good.
It's pretty good. I still don't know exactly how I feel about it. I'm hoping I'll figure that out along the way.
It's weird. This movie is very weird.
It is weird
in a lot of ways because it's not a comedy.
No, they tried.
There is comedy in the film, but the film as a whole is not a comedy.
Yeah, it's not. It's like a
family drama, sort of action film. It's sort of hard to say.
It's pretty wild. I'd say I enjoyed it, but it's not like. I mean, it's not as good as the first two, but it's infinitely better than 2016 for me. But
yeah,
because the reason it's better than 2016 is it at least does a good job at paying homage to the original. I feel the original two movies and does that pretty well.
Yeah, I agree.
It's whether or not the journey up to that point is really up to snuff. I don't know, because it really does feel like a completely different movie, because you're dealing with there's a couple of kids. It's and there's this love interest thing between Paul Rudd and what's her face,
the mom character. I don't remember her name. I can't remember the names. It's been a little bit since I saw this, so I can't remember all the names off the top of my head. I will say I thought is Mckenna Grace, that's the lead actress. Mckenna something, I think is her name. I think.
Sounds right.
She was awesome. I thought she was fantastic. Paul Rudd was great. Her little Finn Wolfhard was fine. I mean, I didn't think he was anything special, but I think he's a good kid actor. I think he was fine in this movie. I didn't really have too many strong feelings about the character. The little kid named Podcast. I wanted him out of the movie as soon as I saw him, and I hated him.
Poor Podcast.
I hated him so much. I wanted him out of the movie. He detracted from every single scene he was in. He wasn't funny.
Aww.
He wasn't cute. I don't do annoying cute characters like that. I don't like that very much. It doesn't belong in my Ghostbusters movie. I'm sorry, but it didn't. He did not work for me at all.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Yeah. Well, he's kind of like there was a Ned in Spider-Man. He's is that role is the funny guy, right?
Yeah, but Ned is charming and nice and not just a complete I've got a book of podcast. I'm just gonna bother you. And it was just that was his whole character. And I was just go away, please. And I will say, as the movie went on, there was a lot less of him as the movie went on. So I was all right, yeah. I was okay with that.
So what's really interesting is about this movie is that going into it, we knew the whole cast was going to have an appearance in some way.
Mm-hmm.
It was there, and it was also always thinking how will they work in Egon, the character, what will happen there. I did not know that it would be the center of everything going into this movie, but
Yeah, I knew there was an element from like the first trailer, which I saw like forever ago. It was probably like over a
I
year
don't think
ago.
I ever watched the trailer.
I saw the first trailer like a year ago, and I remember from that it was it was like Egon Spengler dies, and he like they like inherit his farm, I guess, or something out in the middle of nowhere.
That was in the trailer?
Oklahoma. That was in the trailer, yeah. But I didn't realize. I thought that was more just. To me, that felt a lot more like a plot device for stuff to happen, rather than that's like the central focus of the narrative is about that. And I didn't expect going into this movie. I did not expect that at all.
Yeah.
I kind of get the sense from the trailer that it wasn't necessarily going to be a big comedy, but I didn't think it was going to be as not a comedy as it was. There were moments that actually had me laugh. There was some decent comedy, I thought, in it, but overall not a comedic movie.
At one point she says to the daughter, she's like, maybe you will make new friends out here. And she says, make them out of what? I like that one, but there was some that were really weird. The mom in particular, like, will say some comments, and I'm like, actually, I feel like it was supposed to be funny. That it wasn't funny.
It just wasn't. Yeah,
but
I mean, I thought I thought the little girl's non-MIDI was very fun.
Yeah,
her really dry humor was like her attempt at telling like non-joke humor or like really obvious humor was very cute and endearing. I like that a lot.
She's like a more bearable young Sheldon kind of character, like she's supposed to be that young like person who's into the science and nerdy stuff, and
right, she's awkward and doesn't really quite fit in, but like she's really into what she's into. And I like characters like that a lot, and they don't feel like too overwritten or overbearing. At least I didn't get that from her at all. And I really liked her and like the sort of little arc and journey that we went on in this. It was really good.
So the center of everything is Egon Spengler and his legacy. Basically like he's seen as a bad father. He's like really people like the Ghostbusters are trashing on him too. Like Ray. Yeah, Ray.
Ray's
still at the occult shop.
Yeah, I thought that was great. I was like, that made so much sense to me. I was like, we are. By the way, we're going to be going full dive spoilers in case you weren't aware. So just beware. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was great. I have problems with it, but it's a fun movie, and if you like Ghostbusters, you'd probably get something out of it. So, she calls Ray in the time when she's like in prison. You get one call. Oh yeah, it was like you get one. Who you gonna call? And I was like, oh my god. I was like, oh man. There was maybe a little too. Maybe it was a little too nostalgia centric, maybe at times, but yeah. She calls Ray up. Basically, she found like his number and or she remembered the number from the advertisement, the YouTube. Mm-hmm. And then so she calls the number and then Ray's just like, Egon Spengler can go to hell. I was like, whoa, Ray, what happened?
And so that was interesting. What did they say that Venkman was doing?
Oh, Venkman was, I think he went back to school. I think they said
a professor.
I think he'd gone back to be a professor at school. I think is what they said. I don't remember exactly. I seem to think that's what happened. And I did like the little bit that Winston was like the most successful of all of them. He was like a huge like businessman, entrepreneur. I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
so it was interesting to see like where they ended up, and to have so much focus on Egon throughout, like all the legacy talk. I mean, the family stuff, and then between the relationship and the fallout, and all the way leading up to the freaking Force Ghost Egon in the end.
Force Ghost Egon shows up at the very end. It was maybe a little too sappy, but I would be lying if I remember thinking that like when it happened, I was like, oh no. I don't know if I like this at all. But then towards the end of it, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't getting a little choked up about it, seeing Harold Ramis interact with the three of them again. Like there's something beautiful about a goodbye to both Harold Ramis as a person, as an individual, and as Egon Spengler as one of them. Probably like what most people would probably say, if it's not Venkman, it would probably be Egon would be their favorite character, I would think. And it was nice in a way. It was kind of nice to have that.
It was tastefully done. I think.
Yeah, I didn't think it would. I'm so glad they didn't have him like use archive audio or anything and make him speak. I'm so happy they didn't do that, because that would have been so awkward.
But it almost like it drew attention to the fact that like he didn't say anything. It's like, oh well, we know why he's not saying anything.
Right.
So that like in an ideal world, you would have him be able to say stuff, because it does seem weird he would just be silent. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and it was almost like the father-son Kamehameha from Dragon Ball Z. You know, he joins them and adds to the blast.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I did like how all of them sort of like look over and then they're like, "Whoa, he's here, he's back."
Venkman had a funny like just like look at him like,
yeah,
and he's like, "Okay, I guess we're doing this now."
Bill Murray seemed like he was kind of having fun again. Also, it seemed to me that he was actually kind of, because he was like joking and quipping. It might have been like a little like Jason Reitman was like, "All right, well you get, come on, go for it, Bill, go for it."
We need that old Venkman.
We just need it, and he might have just been like, "Oh, whatever." But it was fun. It was fun to have those characters acting like older versions of the same people that we knew and loved from the previous two films. So yeah, it was nice. It was very charming, a nice ending.
That being said,
okay,
if they should not have. I wish I didn't know that they were in this movie, though. I spent the whole movie like, one of these Ghostbusters is going to show up, because I knew the whole cast was going to be there, and they show up in like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, you know? Where did what's her name go too? She like showed up for like that one scene at the beginning, and then she was gone for the rest of the movie.
Secretary.
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember her name. Like Janine, I think, something like that. I was like, where did she go? I mean, she shows up towards the end credits again, but like it was kind of weird where it was like, yeah, she's got all the bills. And then it was just like, all right, bye.
Notice how we had the same thing that they did with Sigourney Weaver in the 2016 one, where she comes out like at the very end of the movie. In
the post credits, yeah.
It was like very similar treatment.
It was, but at least she wasn't insufferable, and it was you get this little romance between her.
And it was the reference to the freaking shock experiment shenanigans. I know,
to the very beginning of the first movie. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's fun.
She was like, "You really did that." Basically, it was what she was saying. You did that.
Yeah, you did that.
That's what I've been saying.
Yeah. So.
Wait. So here's the weird things in this movie. Okay. Is this freaking teenage love?
What was with the subplot there with Finn? It's like Finn's whole character arc was very like kind of not really necessary at all.
And the fact they kind of like shoehorned into this like young. It was I almost predicted it was Ghostbusters Jr. It was happening before our eyes. And
I was like the Goonie Busters, basically.
They're coming together like this. But this girl was just like the girl that Finn Wolfhard's character had the hots for. That's all she was. But she's just, okay, I guess she's just going to have one of the Ghostbusters uniforms on now. She'll just be a part of this.
Her dad was the policeman, okay? It was important character development.
That's true. Notice how he like went for it, like he was in the very first interaction when he's in the car with his mom and gets out and everything, and then instantly everybody around him was like making fun of him for it. It's like, hey, Casanova, and just everybody knew what he was up to.
Yeah, well, she's probably like, you know, it's a small town. She's like probably the hot young thing, and
she's hot young, but she was into it though, so
she was. She kind of liked it. It was charming. She's a charming little nerdy boy.
Yeah, it worked out when they went up to like the mountain or whatever, and they were hanging out.
Yeah.
And then just freaking, what happened? Like, freaking spirits came up or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, that was pretty funny." I'm like, "How? Do you not see what just happened?" Like,
You crazy kids, did you not see what happened?
But I mean, I kind of like the whole chasing down the ghost thing.
Going after oh crap, not Slimer this time. It's not Chomper. It's something like that.
Something he's definitely chomping.
Yeah,
big time chomper over here.
I don't remember what they called him, but yeah, he was just like eating metal everywhere. I liked it was a new ghost, similar to Slimer in a way, but it was a new ghost type, and chasing down the ghost was a lot of fun. There was a lot of really interesting and actually like kind of like nice cinematography in this. There was some like really good shots, like as you were talking about the chasing the ghosts. I really liked when they were entering that warehouse for the first time. There was like a lot of really awesome like shots and angles during that whole scene. I really liked a lot. I remember that standing out to me. In particular.
Here's the weird part for me. The Walmart. We're in a Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart.
We went to Walmart. Not only did we go to Walmart, but the freaking Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Here they are. And this was it turned into a completely different movie, right? This was a completely different movie for a bit, where it was just like, oh, cute, funny little Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, haha, was happening, and they were just doing funny, cute things, and like, okay, well,
it was kind of weird. That was a weird moment for sure.
It was a different movie, and like I said this before, when I knew. Like last week, I knew there was mini Stay Puft Marshmallow Man involved because it's part of the merchandising of this movie. But I'm like, how does that happen? Like, it was a random chance, basically, that the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man ever even came to be in the original. So how do you contrive that into being some sort of little character here?
It was Gozer.
It was Gozer
because it was Gozer
along.
Again, and Gozer, remember, the form of the Destructor was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So that's why when Gozer is attempting to be unleashed again, that's why they are animated, because the ghosts are being unleashed, and it's like, oh, it's like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man come alive, because that was the form of the Destructor.
Yeah.
That actually made sense to me. It's still weird.
But it was a different movie. It was a different movie for a bit. It was
it was a little different.
It was like turned into like, it could have been like a movie where you have these little Stay Puft Marshmallow and doing funny gags the whole time, like Alvin and the Chipmunk style.
Well, it was
like living with them.
It was for a good 60 seconds there.
It was so funny how it was just a Walmart.
Did you? Just straight up Walmart.
And like you heard screams at one point, but like that Walmart was empty. Walmart. Paul Rudd was chilling.
I mean, it was like one of those 24-hour Walmarts. So he was going there like super late at night.
Still more people than that.
Yeah, there were a few.
I feel like if you have a 24-hour Walmart, you're in an area that would have more people than that, but
not necessarily.
There was no mom. There was only Zoul. I like that.
I will say it's interesting that it kind of did the same sort of thing Ghostbusters 1 did also, which again maybe a little too tied to the past, but I like the fact that it played Paul Rudd's transition into the Keymaster, where that was sort of like kind of jokey and played for laughs, whereas her transformation was like horrifying. I liked that, because it's like, it's a little, we'll call back. That made some sense, because it's like when these things are doing their thing, it takes different forms, and so
I am tired of Zoul.
I am very tired of Zoul too. I 100% agree with you that I did not really like the fact that it was Zoul again.
It's like, but the fact, like, this is what Ghostbusters is built on, is Zoul. Yeah. So like even if it's not Zoul, it's gonna be some other Shamalama doo-doo.
You think it's gonna be Pink Slime? You think it's gonna be Pink Slime in the next one?
Pink Slime, yeah. Mood Slime is back.
Because they did show in the second post credits teaser the alarm on the thing was going off, and that was like the last major thing that the Ghostbusters did. I think, before the business started going bad. So.
Yeah, and then the firehouse turned into a Starbucks, apparently, canonically. Do you remember them mentioning that? They said the firehouse is now a Starbucks.
So I guess we're gonna have Starbucks in the next movie.
we gotta set up shop here.
We gotta set up shop at the Starbucks. Well, I mean, he went into that. Wait, it can't possibly be a Starbucks because didn't he go into the old firehouse at the end of the movie? At the end of the movie, remember he like went in there and was like looking around, and that's when it panned down to the big trap, like the alarm like starting to go off.
Or did I miss? Was that the credit scene, right?
That was a post-credit scene.
I think I might have missed that one. I don't think. Okay. I think I only watched the first credits thing.
Okay, the first credits thing.
But they mentioned. Was that a joke? Who said? I forget who said that it turned into a Starbucks.
I don't remember, but yeah, I do seem to remember. I do seem to remember that though.
Because I wrote a note about that specifically. Like Firehouse is a Starbucks now.
And maybe it was a joke. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe Winston just like bought he ran the Starbucks out of business and bought it. I don't know.
And made it a firehouse again.
Made it a firehouse again.
So I will say I did kind of really like the opening of the movie. I thought it was kind of cool how they led into it, where it was like on Egon's house and everything being set up, and I thought the directing was really cool there and how they shot that. It was kind of a cool lead into it because it was like, I mean, it established a different tone immediately from original Ghostbusters stuff, but I thought it was cool. And you basically you're thrown right into Egon the moment that Egon dies, so it's cool.
Yeah, I don't. So despite the fact that I was saying earlier that I did genuinely feel some emotion towards the end, I don't know if I totally buy the sort of almost forced sentimentality. Like upon reflection, I feel like if I watched it again, I would probably still get the same sort of choked up feeling. But it's like they sort of like, oh well, he really loved them after all, and it was like, well, that still doesn't solve all the bills, all the fact that he did leave and didn't tell her about anything. It's like, yeah, sure, he was keeping track of her and he did love her, but he didn't do a very good job of.
Why did he have to do that?
Exactly. That's never really explained. I don't know. He is
just a bad father, right?
I guess maybe he wanted to keep her away from the coming tide of the big explosion from this, because the person who mined all of the material that the tower was made out of the mine was there in that Oklahoma town. And that's why it was all going to happen there, because that's all very ghost volatile.
I don't even know how I feel about the fact that this is what Egon turned out to be. Is like he was like the crazy guy in town, basically, is what he had been reduced to. And like everybody's eyes, he was just like, oh, he's what's it called? Something farmer? The
dirt farmer.
Dirt farmer.
Yeah, because he never was anything.
And he had like signs of like, okay, this guy's off his rocker. He's got these signs up on there.
Yeah.
Revelations. Didn't he have like Revelations something?
Yeah, he had the verse that Ray quoted to Winston in the first movie.
And he had like a tattoo of that too, right? Ray? Didn't they show that?
He did, yeah, he did. Yeah, he still had, it was the same as the Revelation. Yeah.
But it was like, okay, like, yeah, his legacy was kind of tarnished for like all these years, and then it was interesting seeing like them pulling it up on YouTube, like, oh, you don't know about this, and they're just people that don't know that the Ghostbusters were a thing.
Yeah.
You know, they pulled up this video with like 90,000 views.
Yeah, it's like it's like, yeah, it was that thing that happened in the 80s, but it was like a local thing, whatever. You know, it's like one of those things where it's like people just sort of forgot about them, and I was like, I don't know if I totally buy that.
Yeah,
either.
It's not just like
I was able to swallow it in Ghostbusters 2, because it's like Ghostbusters was still known. They were just like, they're just the guys that go do parties now, basically.
And there's the non-believers.
Yeah.
But we got plenty of those. I can buy that.
Yeah. But this is a little yeah.
The fact like, oh, you haven't even heard of those?
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, they trapped like real ghosts in these things. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Weird, I didn't know about that.
Paul Rudd's character being like an old super fan, I really liked that. That was fun.
And it also being that awful like for the summer school, whatever it is, he just throws on these violent movies. That's all he does.
Movies.
That's all he does. He doesn't even try.
Yeah.
And he like actually likes science stuff, but
yeah.
For some reason, he's that guy that just throws on movies. He doesn't even try. Yeah,
he's just like, no one wants to be here. No one's going to listen to me, so.
And the main girl actually wants to learn stuff and do stuff, and they do the whole.
So does podcast.
Yeah.
Hate that character.
Shout out
so
to
much.
podcast though.
I literally couldn't. The movie would have been almost the exact same without him.
Mm-hmm.
Like you take him out, and I think it almost works better if you take.
She's
him
a
out.
friend for. He is a friend for her.
Yeah, but he doesn't really ever contribute too much. If you rewrite that character to make him maybe less like, I'm quirky, silly kid. It's like if you just make him like a normal, like maybe a little bit eccentric like her, rather than like, I'm cool, yo, dog, and she's a fine little lady. And I'm going to be, it's just like.
Should they have killed podcasts? Do we need stakes in this movie? Do we need podcasts to die? To make this movie better, maybe.
No, I don't think so. I feel like that character needed another rewrite or something. I don't know. I did not like him at all.
Ultimately, like, I'm glossing over the fact that this movie, I enjoyed it, but I also felt like it was a really slow burn for a lot of it. It was like I was like waiting for. I was not into it for a while. I'm like waiting, and then the fact that I knew the Ghostbusters were in it might not have helped because I'm like, look at these. I'm chilling with these kids. Give me the cast.
I kind of knew it was gonna be like it's towards the end they'll show up and they'll all get together and like I kind of figured that much. I didn't necessarily know it would be like we only really have contact with Ray. I didn't realize that. I thought there may be a little bit more like attempt at like hints at them or anything like that, but no, not so much.
And so I felt like it was really slow and not the most interesting movie for a lot of it. And then the teen drama, teen love stuff. At the end, he's like, he even says to the girl, he's like, I totally thought I lost you. I'm like, it was like the classic teen love line. Yeah, it's just I mean, there's no like real connection that I felt there. Like, I grew to love their connection.
It felt like they were like good friends. You know, it's kind of like that's just they're getting to know each other. They're friends.
They're young. They're young. Have fun.
They're young,
but it's not like, oh man, don't let anything break those two up, man.
No, I felt such a connection.
So that didn't work for me so much, but
I really like the scene where she Little Spengler, I guess we'll call her.
Little Spengler,
where she discovers Egon's old lab. Mm-hmm. I really like that scene a lot.
And she's just asking him questions. He's directing her.
Yeah, I thought that was great. I like that. I think something that I really appreciated also, they really hid their budget very well, because this movie did not have a very big budget. I think it was like 80 million or something like that. Which is like, that's very small these days for like a big tentpole film. That's a movie that's like, we're not really going to take that big of a risk on. 80 million is like peanuts compared to like the big 150 to 250 $1 million juggernauts that are the Marvel films. And even 150 is a little cheaper on that end. I think, because I think Shang-Chi was like 120 million or something. So that was a cheaper film too. This was, a lot of the film didn't really rely on the special effects. There was obviously stuff, towards the finale, but a lot of the movie felt like I think they did a good job of showing restraint and not showing their hand at the fact that they didn't have a very big budget, because they used the special effects where they needed to and they didn't go overboard with it. I felt anyway, because like special effects are used for the big tornado thing towards the end, and like the ghosts, like there's some ghost things that happen periodically throughout the film, but like most of the film is shot just like a movie. It's just like looks like a movie, and yeah, I mean it was clearly all shot in location. And I looked at the credits; it was in Alberta, Canada, is where it was filmed. Not in, which makes sense because you get, tax credit from the Canadian government. My dad's trying to call my dad, who had an operation. So I'm gonna answer. So Dad, we are doing a recording right now for our YouTube channel. We are making up for some lost time that we've had. So
yeah, am I on it?
I guess right now you are. Technically, we are recording at the moment. But you're not like on it on the screen. You're on my phone and I'm talking to you. And Zach will probably edit this out. So yeah, Ghostbusters. This is,
I don't know what we were talking about.
I don't really remember either. It was about.
So,
I think it was.
Here's what my problem is, that I think the most effective part of the movie is the last 10 minutes when the Ghostbusters come in. That's the most memorable part of the movie for me.
Yeah,
and that's what I take the most value from it. Like if that wasn't there, there wouldn't be much for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I like what the movie's trying to do. I think I'm kind of with you. I like what the movie's trying to do. And I think it's kind of effective. I just don't know. I think the rest of the movie just doesn't feel like it's geared to me specifically. If that makes any sense. Like it feels like it's trying to bring in a new generation to enjoy the Ghostbusters. And it's like, no, okay. I guess that sort of is fun because they do have a future at some point. You know, they're not getting any younger, that's for sure. But it does seem like they're going to be back ghostbusting again, maybe, or something at the very least. There's some indication of like some new, you know, activity. We got Bill Murray and Sigourney Weaver kind of hanging out again, and then Winston's talking about what it was like to be a Ghostbuster, and Ray is talking with Podcast because he's apparently Podcast's one subscriber, which I kind of thought was really cringe, but you know, it was you know, it's like I was like, all right, you know, it's fine, I guess. But
yeah, I liked how they all had their nice little moment, though.
Yeah, that was nice at the end, like that. Yeah.
It's just the only thing is like the Egon thing with his daughter. I'm like, oh, I guess.
Yeah. But it's weird because, like, yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think the end of the movie is probably the most effective part. I think the movie is sweetly nostalgic, maybe a little too much so, but because I don't know if the script is really all that great. But I enjoyed. I was along for the ride for the most part. Not the greatest movie I've ever seen, but it wasn't like terrible. So
yeah, it wasn't.
I'd see it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of the mom's character. She's just like, I mean, I get your like no fucks given attitude, but like she really did not really care about what her daughter liked.
No,
she was
not
like,
at all.
Science?
It was like I hate science. Well, it's because like I don't know. I guess maybe
her
dad was a scientist, or maybe her old husband. But I remember he was scientist man too. I don't remember. I can't remember.
Yeah,
there was
no,
something like that too. Or no, I don't know. It was
I forget. They talked about it on their date.
Yeah.
Which, man, the chemistry was oozing between those two. But it was so good. I kind of like Paul Rudd. I liked him, and he had some. I like the awkward moments he had where it was like, I think he said, "This is all moving too fast," or something. After she like kissed him on the cheek or something.
Yeah. Whoa! Now it's moving too fast. Yeah.
I like that stuff, but.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't really get it, dude. I mean, she's all right, I guess.
Wow, okay.
Personality's not really there.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, I mean, and then there's kind of like the little kid adventure, but yeah. So I think for me, it's a 7 out of 10. I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I was like hovering between. I've been thinking about this for a while, but I was hovering between like a 6.5 and a 7. I think I enjoyed the movie enough to give it a 7. I don't think it's especially great at any particular thing, other than feels that really nice nostalgia sort of like a warm, comfortable feeling. What this does, so I've criticized movies that do that before in the past, but usually that's only when the movie, like for example, Rogue One, which is also another movie that changes genres, right? It goes from like a sci-fi space adventure to like a war film, whereas this turns like a goofy sci-fi comedy movie into a science action dramedy, or something. I don't even know what you would consider, like what genre this movie is really. But where I criticize where I criticize Rogue One is the fact that it doesn't have any characters that I care about, except for K2SO. And this movie, there's a few characters that I like. I mean, you've got the old Ghostbusters. Paul Rudd's character is kind of funny, and I love the main character. I love the main girl. I thought she was just so great.
I think for as much as you disliked the 2016 one, for how it like handled the science part of it, I think they did that really well in this one, where they put a lot of respect on it.
A lot of respect. They weren't just like immediate experts. She knows how to do a lot of stuff. She's just really hands on, but she's not like I'm ghost busting and I'm like perfect at it already. It's like, and there's no like scenes of them like, oh, let's target practice and like, oh, I felt that one. It was like, no, it was just like the first time they're trying out, they're like destroying the town.
Uh-huh. Podcast never got a shot at it though. Remember, he was like, my turn.
They did do a target practice.
They did do that.
They did do that, but it was played for laughs in a more like fun way rather than like fat woman falls down, ha 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 ha, which is just like, okay.
But it's like at least they seem to prop up the nerdy people and like
the science. It's science triumphing over the mystical, right? It's hard reason beating a supernatural force, and it's like that's kind of what Ghostbusters always sort of had going for it, like hard science overcoming the sort of like the spooky stuff.
I did think it was really funny when she asked, "Are you a god again?" To Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I like how they all sort of like looked at me. It was like,
yeah, they looked at Ray.
Yeah, it's like that. You gave the right answer that time.
So I like that a lot.
Yeah.
There were some nice, like, actually, I really appreciated that end credit scene because it was like a nice reference. Having just seen it, because I know like my brother didn't get what the reference was because he didn't watch Ghostbusters recently. You know, he had seen it. He was like, I didn't get what that was. I'm like, there was a reference to that specific scene. Yeah. So it's an actual pretty deep cut.
I'll also say the music is really good in this too. I really like the score a lot. It was all sort of like riffs on one of the main themes in the first film. It's sort of like variations on it, but I thought it worked really well. I thought it was good. I liked it.
So the Tarqaron score is 7 out of 10. Yep. So I don't know if we'll do a video wrapping up the whole Ghostbusters series or not.
I don't think we really necessarily need to.
So I mean, ultimately, overall, the scores obviously are going to be Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Ghostbusters 2016.
Yeah, I think it's...
For me, the first two are interchangeable. I enjoyed the second one more for some reason. Yeah. And then, it's like, no big surprises here. This is about what I expected it to be. I didn't expect Afterlife to match the first two, but didn't expect it to be as bad as the other one, so...
No, which is like, this is fine. And it wasn't bad. It was a fine, solid movie. So I liked it.
So Ghostbusters, that's another series in the book.
Yeah, there it is, right there.
Star Wars, The Godfather, Shrek, Ghostbusters.
It's joining a cadre of films right there.
4 pillars, the 4 pillars of cinema, as they're known.
The 4 pillars, yeah, they are.
So. That's it, guys.
What
video would you recommend our viewers watch after this?
Oh, gee, I don't know. Go check out our Rogue One review. Since I was
so what a good movie.
Talking about that movie. Yeah, no.
You know the scene I liked in particular was the one at the end in the hallway scene with Darth Vader when he comes down. That's badass.
Anyway. You can like and comment.
Subscribe to the channel, subscribe to our podcast feed, hit the notification bell, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and like us on Facebook. Tarqaron TWO. All right.